Coming to get you, Bobber.
It's Me, Billy is a 2021 horror fan film directed by Bruce Dale and Dave McCrae, and it stars Shelby Handley, Victoria Merrill and Malika Heni Hamadi. First off guys, this is going to be a spoiler free review, so if you haven't seen the movie at all, you can watch this and you don't have to worry. Near the end of the review, there's going to be a minor spoiler. It doesn't give away the plot or anything like that. I'll maybe touch upon some minor spoilers. It's Me, Billy is a short Black Christmas fan film and a tribute film based in the 1974 Canadian horror classic. The film is an unofficial sequel set nearly 50 years after the events of the first movie and follows the granddaughter of Jess Bradford. Before we get into the film, I'm going to start with the history of Black Christmas for me personally. Now, I wasn't a massive Black Christmas fan when I was growing up. In fact, I didn't see Black Christmas, the original one, until after I watched the remake from 2006, so I already had mixed feelings about if I wanted to watch it or not, because movies set in made in the early 70s, I wasn't really interested in them, apart from Halloween, which was the late 70s. But as I got a little bit older and appreciating horror more and appreciating older horror more, I obviously delved into it and I thought it was really good. It was the best Black Christmas film out of all the Black Christmases that have been, and that there only has been 3 officially. Black Christmas, the remake from 2006, and then obviously that bad one that Blumhouse done 2 years ago. So apart from the original, there's not been anything to shout about in the Black Christmas franchise, and you can't even call it a franchise because it didn't spawn any sequels whatsoever until now. I've been following the production of It's Me, Billy since the very beginning. This has been a few years now, and I'm good friends with Dave McCrae online, and I've gotten to know Bruce as well, so I'm not going to look at this from a friendly perspective. I'm going to look at it from the best critiquing that I can do. I'm not a professional critique, so take this review however you want it guys. I'm just going to give my honest opinions on this fan film. Leading up to the actual release of the fan film, I think Dave and Bruce done it perfectly. They gave us a couple of teaser trailers or a TV spot or whatever you want to call them, and a couple of images and some posters as well. That's how you do it. That's how the proper Hollywood style production and marketing is laid out, and the trailers don't give anything away. You know, when you watch the trailers, there are some good scenes you're thinking, okay, are they showing us the best bits? But no, they didn't show us the best bits whatsoever. And in fact, what they showed us is nothing compared to how the movie plays out, which is really good, really smart marketing. And I know that Dave is I'm not saying he's a fan of trailers, but he's a fan of showing a trailer properly and marketing a movie properly, and he talks about it all the time in his Dave McCrae Live and all the videos that he puts out there, and I think he would be a bit of a hypocrite if he released a trailer showing everything and then before it complaining about trailers showing all the things. So I think what Dave talks about in his previous reviews, you know, he puts his heart on his sleeve and he gets to work in the sense that he doesn't want to do things that he complains about. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to start off with the acting on this fan film. Now, I say this all the time when it comes to fan films. I don't really judge the acting because they're just fan films. 95 to 99% of the people in these fan films are not actors. They're just friends getting together trying to make a fan film and cover a movie that they love, and that's it. So when it comes to the acting, I don't really judge it. I'm going to judge the acting in this film, however, because the 3 leads, Justin, Sam and Emma, they have worthy performances, not just for a fan film, but for an actual professional Hollywood movie. I'm probably going to mention Hollywood movie throughout this review because that's what this is. This was produced and acted like a Hollywood style movie. It doesn't look like a fan film at all. But going back to the acting, the 3 leads in this film were amazing. You know, when you look at the 3 girls in this film, I don't know if they've got acting experience. If they don't, then they've just pulled off something miraculous. If they are actresses, then I think they've got a career in Hollywood because the 3 of them were really good. I don't think they looked out of place. They don't look like they were amateurs. I think Dave and Bruce brought them in because they were good actresses, and they completely showed that in this film because all 3 were standouts. Sam is obviously the granddaughter of Jess Bradford. When you look at her eyes, I think she does resemble a bit of Olivia Hussey when Olivia Hussey was younger. Then you get Dave McRae playing Billy. Dave is obviously a really good voice actor, and he does a little voice skits in his videos as well, and he works wonders with the voice of Billy in this, especially these phone calls that you hear. The phone calls are riveting. You get engrossed in these phone calls. Not only do you get engrossed in them, they're actually really scary. When you make fan films, you try and make it as scary as possible, and visually that's what you're trying to do, make it scary. But not only did they make this movie visually scary, the audio, I don't even know how you would say this, but the audio in this film is also scary, all thanks to Dave McCrane's voice. You little bitch! You all know by now that Dave is a fan of mood and atmosphere, and again, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He loves mood and atmosphere. Why not implement mood and atmosphere in your film? And he does that in abundance, straight from the start right to the very end. He's got, when it's the dark scenes, he's got that dark blue hue coming in from the window, and then you get artificial lighting that's set up intentionally with the red. I think it worked wonders, and I don't know if Dave has got a cinematography background or he just knows what he likes, but the cinematography, and apologies if there is a cinematographer, whoever set up the lighting in this film, done it perfectly. When it comes to the story of It's Me Billy, I'm not going to go into the ending of the story, but if they were going to ever make a Black Christmas sequel, which they haven't ever done, I think that the story for this is probably something that Hollywood would have chosen to do, and if they hadn't, then somebody would have given them the idea to do it this way. Even to the very end of the film, the idea that Dave and Bruce came up with is the sort of idea that I would expect to see in Hollywood. I wouldn't expect to see it in a sequel that would have come out in the 70s, but if they waited a long time, like, I know they didn't wait a long time for Halloween, but when they brought out Halloween 2018, the idea that they had for that was 40 years in the making, and I think it's similar to It's Me Billy. It's 40 odd, almost 50 years in the making, so the story for this was again perfect. When it comes to the blood and gore in this, it's almost non-existent. I'm saying almost non-existent because there is blood in the film, and when you see these fan films, a lot of people are trying to get as much blood and gore in as possible because they want to make it a scary horror film. You don't have to do that. And even people who make these bloody gory films, these bloody gory fan films, they also say you don't have to have blood and gore, yet they go out and try and make this bloody gory fan film. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's not. Dave, being a fan of Halloween, he knows there's no need for blood and gore to make a really good horror movie. What you need is suspense, mood and atmosphere, and that's what he replaced the blood and gore with in this: suspense, mood and atmosphere. If you're a fan of the original Black Christmas, there's lots of nods to the original Black Christmas in It's Me Billy, and the film is only just over 40 minutes long, but they've got a lot of callbacks to the original, even things like the lighting, the cinematography, some of the kill scenes, which I won't mention, other little things. When you're watching it, it reminds you of the original Black Christmas. Something that they do well with these nods is they don't put it in your face. They don't go, oh look, remember this in Black Christmas? They don't have to do that. Little subtle nods with things that pass you by, little subtle nods with things that you see. They don't throw it in your face. Let's talk about the ending now. I'm not going to mention the ending because that would spoil it, but it got to a point where I thought the movie ended, and it was predictable at that point, and it was predictable in a satisfying way, because I thought, okay, it ended the way I wanted it to, it ended the way I thought it would, and it was a very satisfying ending, and that's it. But it didn't end there. And as much as I would be satisfied with that, I was even more satisfied with what we saw next. The next couple of minutes was key, because the next couple of minutes gave us a twist ending. Not only did it give us a twist ending, it also gave us nods to the remake from 2006. Now let's move on to all the negatives, because there's quite a lot. I'm only joking, there's not any negatives, to be honest. There's two things that I want to mention though that can be classed as a negative, but I don't think they are. One of them is the runtime. It's 42 minutes long. I wanted a 90-minute movie. And that's probably a positive because I wanted more. 42 minutes isn't enough. What I saw in 42 minutes was absolutely breathtaking. It was amazing to see something like that and be classed as a fan film. It made me want more. That is a good thing. Some people would class it as a negative because they might think, oh, that was too short, but what do you expect for a fan film? They've got a small budget. If Dave and Bruce get a bigger budget the next time, I hope that they do a feature-length movie, whether it be a Black Christmas themed one or something else, I don't care. If they do it in the same quality as they did with this 42-minute movie, I'd happily sit and watch it for 90 minutes. One other thing I would mention is, again, it's not a negative, I would call it a missed opportunity in my eyes. They might have thought of this, they might have thought that's a rubbish idea, I have no idea, but something I would have loved to have seen was, they mention at the start of the film when they were younger, they used to play hide and seek and things, and they talk about these curtains where the gran used to hide behind the curtains. When they mentioned that, I thought, we're going to see that later on, something's going to happen later on. And there is a scene where Sam is coming down the stairs passing the curtains, and I thought we were going to see some maybe feet underneath the curtains, and it reminds us of what happened when she was younger. Again, I think that was a small thing. I would say it was a missed opportunity in my eyes. I don't know what Dave would think. I'm really sorry, Dave, if you think that's a negative. It's completely not a negative. It's just something that I personally would have added in, just to add to the suspense that was already there. Just something that I would have personally added in. Overall though, guys, and I expected to say this is hands down the best fan film I have ever seen. And I'm not talking just marginally better than other fan films. This is, you get fan films, you get the best fan films, and then you get Dave McCrae and Bruce Dale's It's Me Billy. It's not only is it the best fan film, it's better than a lot of horror films that I've seen, and that's no joke. That's not because I know these people, it's not because I know Dave personally, not at all. I'm very critical when it comes to fan films. I will dissect it, I will give negatives. Honestly, there's no negatives that I can give in this one other than some things I would have added in. I would have made it longer if I had the budget, but are they even negatives? Probably not. So have you guys seen It's Me Billy? How do you think it compares to the original? Does it hold up to the original? Would it be a worthy sequel if it was a feature-length movie? As always guys, leave your comments down below, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.